Hello, cruising world. Mick the Suit Guy greeting you with a nice shot of my cat, Portman. This is Portman. Say hello, Portman. Say hello. Hello, everybody. She likes to make an appearance every now and then. It's Monday, and Monday is Tips Day. Today, it's going to be Pros and Cons Day. This is my new thing. Actually, it was an idea I got from Suzanne. It was a great idea. So you can send me your tips, but also if you go on a cruise, send me what you liked and what you didn't like about the cruise, and I will gladly read them out, and I'll give you my input and ideas and thoughts, but they are just mine. Doesn't mean I'm right by any means, but I wrote them down on my phone, which is really annoying because it goes, oh, can you leave the mic alone? That's not for you to play with. Because it kind of goes to sleep every like 10 seconds. I have to keep it in there. So Carnival Panorama, we recently went on a 7-day cruise, Mexican Riviera. It was the last 7-day cruise they did, actually, because they're moving to 6 and 8 days. Look, you need to be on the camera. Do we make a good couple? Do you like me? Do you like me? You do, don't you? Yeah, she likes me. So I wrote them down. So I'll do my pros, and then I'll do my cons. Unfortunately, there were quite a lot of cons. Some of them a little bit nitpicky, quite possibly. But, why do you have to rub your head on my Carnival ship? Whatever. And she keeps, the sound's going to be awful because her towel keeps hitting the... All right, what were my pros? So we cruised out of Long Beach. And like I said, we were going to Cabo. Well, we went to, first place we did was Puerto Vallarta. And then we went to Mazatlan. And then we went to Cabo. So what were the pros and cons? Well, the pros... Embarkation was very, very easy. It always is at Long Beach. They've got it dialed in. If you do an Uber, I'll give you a tip. Have the Uber drop you at the Queen Mary. Do not have the Uber drop you at the port. The Queen Mary is literally a 2-second or 2-minute walk from the port, but you can take a left and drop you by the Queen Mary, then you can walk straight in. No traffic. If you go right to the port, so they literally drop you off right in front of the port, so it's like it saves you like a minute. It will probably take you 10 to 15 minutes longer to get there because the traffic is just solid. So that's a tip, not a pro and con. But the embarkation was very, very easy. It always is there. Like I said, they're very, very good at what they do, and that they're always nice and friendly. So yeah, you won't have any issues with the embarkation. I would doubt. Very simple. The cruise director is Andy Entertainment. If you've ever cruised with Andy, you know Andy is the best. Joey's good. Oh, you're going? She's had enough. You don't like Andy? Whatever, she'll be back. I like Andy and Joey are my favorite too. Nothing to do with the fact they're both English. And I think they're both great. I've cruised with both many times and they're both amazing. It's not a competition. Andy, slightly above. But that's nitpicky. And I don't know no real reason for saying that. They're both amazing. No, they're both. It's a tie. Damn it, it's a tie. Even though I told Andy he was better than Joey, and I told Joey he was better than Andy, just because you got to do that, right? Boost their ego. But Andy's an amazing cruise director. You'll see him walking around the ship all the time. He's very approachable, take pictures, ask questions, and he's very entertaining. Hence the word Andy Entertainment. Does his own comedy show. He's just an all-round excellent cruise director. I hope he's with Carnival for a long, long, long time. Because I went on this cruise because he was the cruise director. So I will do that. The crew, mostly good. Mostly very good. 95% good. There were a couple. There's always a couple. They're good. But some of them aren't maybe having the best of days. And I usually put it down to that. But there was a couple of crew members on this one that had 7 bad days. But 98% will go up a little bit. Were very, very good. And I knew a lot of crew members on board. I always do when I go on these ships lately, it seems. But this was no exception. So we had some great, great crew members. I was surprised how much I enjoyed our day out in Mazatlan. I've been there before and I didn't think much of it. But they've done a lot to that place to make it look a lot nicer. We don't do carnival tours. We did, and in my cons, we did one on this cruise, and that will be one of my big cons. I'll explain that to you when we get there. But in Mazatlan, we rented these I forgot what they're called. pagodas. I don't know what the hell they're called. They're like, and you have a driver, and then there's 3 of you can go into the back, 1 in the front, 2 in the back, and they basically drive around. And there was 9 of us, so we got 3 of them, and we just did a tour all together, and that was a really, really fun day. It wasn't overly expensive. If you want the link, email me. My email's coming up at the end of this, and I will gladly send you the link to the people we use. It wasn't overly expensive. It was like $50 a person, I think is all it was. And it was like a 6-hour tour. At the end, they took us to a restaurant. We had to pay for it ourselves, of course. But it was a good day. And Mazatlan has improved immensely from what I remember it. Yeah, Cabo, well, we'll get to that in a second. Puerto Vallarta is my big issue. And then the last real pro is, surprisingly, my opinion of Gigi's. We went there twice, and it was amazing both times. I'm finding that when you are a good crew member in Gigi's, they will just move you around the ships from one Gigi's to another. And as there are only 4 Gigi's, and I like to go on ships that have Gigi's, I bump into the same people all the time. And this crew was no exception. We have people in there that actually follow this channel. I just put a video out a couple of weeks ago of our experience in Gigi's. We took some new people there, and the food. My only comment on Gigi's is they just give you way too much food. There's a lot of food wastage, a lot. You could easily, like we had 9 people, half the food would have been enough. You know, maybe a little bit more than half. But they could have just brought the food out and said, if you want any more, let us know and we'll bring it to you. We could have saved them a lot of food. That's my only comment on Gigi's that would even be slightly negative. And is that really a bad thing? Yeah, it is a bad thing, because food wastage is not a good thing. But they just give you way too much food. There's no way you could eat all that food. Yeah, so they were our main pros. The room was fine. We didn't eat in the main dining room at all. Or did we? Maybe one day. Yeah, we did. One night, lobster night. I'm finding that more and more these days. I don't go into the dining room. But the people we were with, when they went in the dining room, they said the food wasn't great. And that's a standard thing with Carnival and other cruise lines as well now. If you cruise for food and you're not going into the specialty dining rooms, be prepared to be disappointed, because the food is not the greatest. By the way, that cat just left, and I've got hair itching all over my face. Ugh. Don't let a cat do that. But yeah, the food, it's okay. But I love that ship. It's that one and Horizon, Panorama Horizon, my favorite 2 ships. So overall, the experience is great. So when I go to the cons, they're nitpicky. A couple of them are pretty serious comments. I don't complain. But overall, I would say it was an 80% good cruise and 20% bad. But you do tend to concentrate on the bad more than the good sometimes. And I think it's fair to share the bad to make people aware of what potentially might happen. So as far as our cons, number 1, and this is in no particular order, because this was on the last day of the cruise, we went to tea time, which we like to do, and pretty much all of us went, and we got a table, we sat there, nobody served us. We had to ask people to bring a pot of water or tea, and we maybe got 3 things, and then they shut everything down and went. We used to get scones, as I like to say, and they used to be big, cut in half with cream and jam, and now they're these tiny little things with a bit of cream dashed on top. No jam, no nothing. I like my scones. You know what the fastest cake in the world is? Scone. Haha! Dad jokes. Yeah, so we're a bit disappointed in that, and the fact that nobody came to serve us, and we asked and they just ignored us. And on the way out, they asked if we enjoyed it. We said, well, we would have if we had any food, and they just shunned us and just walked away. So we didn't complain about it. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Again, people can have a bad day, but a table, there was 5 of us at the table, and we basically got ignored the whole time. So that wasn't a very good experience. Maybe it was a one-off. Maybe if you go, tea time will be better. But that was it for us. The biggest complaint we had, Rhythms of the Night excursion, right? Now, we don't, and I actually made a full-on complaint about this on board. I called it my comments, and they took it as comments, not a complaint, which is whatever. So, I don't do Carnival cruises. I don't do Carnival shore excursions unless I have to. And if you're familiar with the Rhythms of the Night, it's a cruise where a boat will pick you up by the ship. It will take you to island area. It's on the mainland, but it's not accessible by road, only accessible by boat. During the day, it's an all-inclusive, which is pretty awesome. If you are ever going there, I go to this place during the day. It looks great. But again, the boat leaves like 8 in the morning, so you couldn't do it on a cruise ship to take you there. But you'll go there, and there'll be drinks on the way out on the boat, and then you'll have a dinner, and then they'll do a great show, and then you'll come back on the boat, right? We did this same excursion a long time ago. I'm talking at least 10 years ago. And when we did it before, it was like $89 or something like that. And the boat was a decent sized boat, but there were maybe 50 people on the boat. And it was just great. It was an excellent time. The food was okay, but I don't expect much for food. The show was amazing. I mean, really, really cool, amazing show. It's like almost like a kind of Cirque du Soleil type of deal show. It's local stuff, but it's a really, really good show, and it was again this time. So this time we get there and we get off the ship, and we have to meet like 45 minutes before the boat's supposed to leave. We get out there, and there was so many people waiting. $180 we paid now, more than double what we paid before. So many people. There was a Carnival shore excursion person there, and I said to him, I says, we're not all getting on the same boat, are we? There'll be 2 boats, right? He said, oh yeah, there'll definitely be 2 boats. This number of people is like having another small cruise ship. There's no way they put all these people on one boat. So we got on one boat. There was an upper level and a lower level. We managed to get on the lower level towards the front and find a couple of seats. So half our group was on one side, half on the other. We couldn't all get seats together. It was so hot this day, you didn't want to be up top. So, but some people had to, some older people. And there were some older ladies that had canes, and thankfully they didn't make them go up top. They put some extra chairs out in the front, and they let them sit there. What they didn't say was how windy it was, and when we left, the waves were coming in because they were trying to get there quickly. Everybody was just getting drenched, and these poor little old ladies were getting soaked. They didn't come to help them. We had to move the chairs over. The staff did come down and put some plastic windows down at the front, but they couldn't put them on one side, which was our side for some reason. So all the way over, we were just getting drenched. No warning, no nothing. And these, like I said, not so much for us, but these 2 old ladies with canes were just getting battered. 200 people, I counted, about 200 people on the boat, half upstairs, half downstairs. 2 toilets, 2 men's, 2 women's, but tiny toilets. You couldn't turn around in them. It was a joke. If you were a bigger person, good luck getting in there. People were seasick because they were going so fast on the way over. Literally, I saw people that were green on all the way over there. But no warning, no nothing, overcrowded, people up top had to sit and everything. So we get there about an hour to get there. It was no fun. We get off. We have our food, which is, it's a buffet. It's nothing crazy. It's okay. It's nothing particularly brilliant, but yeah, it's not bad. And then we go see the show, and the show is amazing as always. The show is brilliant. So here comes my next complaint. We get out of the show, and they say, right, everybody's in the show, and they say, right, all those on the Carnival excursion, please, you leave first, because we had to get back to the ship. Because you have to do a Carnival tour on this one, because the boat leaves from right by the ship, and it gets back right as the ship's about to leave. So you can't do a private tour on this because there's too much risk of missing the ship. This is the only reason we're doing this tour with Carnival, and we wanted to show our new friends it. You come out, and it's been an open bar. It's been an open bar on the island, it's been an open bar on the boat, and you've been sitting watching this show for an hour. Now you got to get back on the boat. They would not let us go to the restroom. They roped it off, and they forced us to go back to the boat. Battery fail again. Oh, I hate this camera. So anyway, as I was saying, we got out of the show and they wouldn't let us go to the restroom. We had to go back to the boat. Now there's 200 people trying to get onto the boat on a very rickety ramp. So we're all lined up. It took like half an hour to get on the boat. Some of my friends, let's just say they needed to go. And I was looking at the boat, and I was just seeing the line for that tiny restroom area longer and longer. We got on the boat. There was probably 20 ladies waiting to get in and 10 men. So now we got to get in line to go into this toilet. We could easily have gone to the one on the island before we left. Anyway, so we got there because we tried to go on the island. Now we're at the back of the line, so we get back on board. We have to sit up top on the way back, but there's no room downstairs. And up top, they turn all the music off on the way back for a quiet experience for those that want it. But we didn't want that. We wanted to party, have a good time, and drink some beers. We couldn't do that. So we had to sit in silence all the way back. So a lot more to it than that. But overall, it was a very, very disappointing excursion. I used to fully recommend it. And I still do recommend the show. But the rest of it, 200 people on a boat, it was ridiculously overcrowded. So that's what Carnival does. They overcrowd, they overcharge, and they underdeliver. Just reinforced my reasoning why I don't do Carnival excursions. Anyway, priority tender in Cabo. There was none. This is going to sound picky for all you non-platinum and diamond people, but we don't get many benefits from being platinum and diamond anymore. They took most of them away. One of the bigger ones, was that when you go on a tender, you get priority tender. So we usually get a letter in the cabin saying when you can go and blah, blah, blah. We didn't get one. So I went to guest services and they goes, oh, we don't give out tender stickers anymore, so we don't do any priority tender. It's just first come, first served. I'm not going to go into that anymore because I don't want to get too complaint, but whatever. Anyway, we had a late debarkation. I don't know whose fault that was, whatever. But yeah, well, I'm not. That could be anything. There was a mystery ship in Cabo. They kept making announcements the day before that, because we're only in Cabo from like 7 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, which wasn't great because you couldn't really do much. But they kept saying that there was another ship going to be in. So from 7 to 9, we had all the tenders. The other ship was coming in at 9, and then they were going to split the tenders. So everybody got up early and everybody piled off the ship at the same time. No priority. We'll leave that one there. But the mystery ship never showed up. There was never a second ship. So I don't know if they just cancelled or what. I don't know. And their short port day in Cabo wasn't great. There was a solo guitarist on board we saw at the end of the cruise, but we didn't see them the first 4 or 5 days. So I don't know if they were sick or whatever. But yeah, that's not really a con. Probably sick. So I didn't really ask about that. And then the other real bad con we had was, and this is kind of a big one in a way, because the service in the Alchemy Bar was unbelievably slow. It would take you half hour to get a drink. I'm not exaggerating. It was so slow. I've never been in an Alchemy Bar where it was like that. And it wasn't just one day. It was every day. It was the same. I gave up. I normally like to get one Alchemy drink a day. I got one and that was it. But some of the ladies with us, they liked their Alchemy drinks. So they waited and they waited and they waited. And it was just... I don't know, that was bad. That was bad. So, as just a few pros and cons of our little cruise. Like I said, overall, the cons are nitpicky, apart from the rhythms of the night. That was really bad. The tea time could have been a bad day. The priority tender is not good. The mystery ship could have cancelled. Solo guitarist could have been sick. I didn't really like the short port day in Cabo. I needed longer. Although we did find, if you go off of the port, go out the port. So there's like a big lighthouse thing. You take a left where Diamonds International is, and then there's like a Del Sol and a Cariloha. Just past there's one of them fish cleaning things, and you can get your fish clean for $10, which is half the cost in the port, and you can sing karaoke. If you're lucky, I might add a little video on the end of this of me doing such karaoke. I got people to come in. I made them money. I was quite proud of that. They tried giving me shots as a thank you, but I don't do shots. Anyway, that's my pros and cons for what it's worth. If you like that, send me yours. If you didn't like it, send me yours because they'd probably be better. But just be honest. What did you like? What didn't you like? You don't have to love everything on the cruise. And it doesn't make it a bad cruise because you had a few bad experiences. It's just, what could have been done better. And you can always do better. Some people have bad days. But things like that, Ribbons of the Night, that was really, really bad. I still see those two ladies as getting battered by water. It was just unacceptable. Anyway, subscribe if you'd like to. Send me your tips. Send me your pros and cons from your recent cruise. My email is coming up at the end. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. If I don't know the answer, I typically know people that do, so I can get that to you. And with that, I feel like I just battered Panorama. I love that ship. It wasn't battering. It was just being honest. I'll see you later, Cruising World. Well, thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll get notifications when new videos come out. And don't forget, Click on the links to the left and right of me. You can watch playlists, new video suggestions, and more. Any questions? Email me, cruisingsuitguy@gmail.com. And don't forget, I'm a travel agent. Email for help.